me see. Um,
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, thank you.
okay. Chapter 6. Life can change completely depending on what kind of people you encounter and what kind of environment you live in. Rice begins as seed rice, which gives rise to seedlings, which in turn produce rice ears. Without seed rice, there would be no ripened rice. Seed rice is an absolute necessary cause of mature rice. Well then, is seed rice alone sufficient to produce rice? No. Place them on top of a desk and they will not give rise to rice. Only when the cause, that is, seed rice, meets with soil and water and sunlight will the result, that is, rice, appear. These factors that help a cause to produce an effect are in Buddhism termed conditions. The Buddha taught a result does not arise from a cause alone. Only when causes and conditions join together do results appear. Even though the cause is the same, if the conditions are different, the result too will be different. For example, even using the same type of seed rice, the quality and quantity of rice produced will differ depending on the environment, how good the soil is, and how well the rice fields have been looked after. When the conditions are different, the results too will differ. That is why the Buddha taught that we should always choose the best conditions available. Our hearts and minds are weak and easily changed by even apparently minor conditions. There is a saying, touch cinnabar and your hands will turn red. Truly, we are greatly affected by such conditions as our environment and the people around us. Because our lives from now on can be transformed by the kind of people we associate with and the kind of environments we place ourselves in, these conditions are extremely important. A proverb about Mencius's mother and her three houses reveals how very important conditions are to us. The great The great philosopher of ancient China, known in the West as Mencius, lived near a graveyard when he was a boy. Seeing that her child was neglecting his studies in favor of imitating the funeral rites at the graveyard, his mother moved to a commercial area of town. So Mencius grew up listening to the merchants talk about how much money they had made or lost that day. When his mother asked him to help with the housework, the boy would demand to know how much he'd get per hour. He was always calculating gains and losses. Concerned to see this, his mother finally moved next door to a school. Now that he was surrounded by friends who liked to study and his teachers living in the neighborhood, Mencius began to devote himself completely to his studies. His name appears in history and philosophy textbooks to this day, and there's no doubt that he was a man of very great ability. But if his mother had not moved next to a school, I doubt he would have become the world famous thinker he is today. Our lives can change completely depending on whom we encounter. Even though we may be lacking in self confidence, if we meet someone who understands and encourages us, our life can take a great turn for the better. On the other hand, even though we are blessed with considerable ability, if we find ourselves in an environment that scorns efforts to improve, we may well spend our whole lives without making use of the talents that we have. In order to make use of our talents and gain good results from them, consider whether your present environment is the right one for you or not. And we have a little photo here with, it seems like a bear, a pig, and a rat. And it says, it's important to place yourself in a good environment. And the little bear on the left-hand side is saying, right. And there's a little caption on top saying, I'm going to do my best. And they have what seems like notebooks. The little piglet there has a headband, I believe. So taking this, studying this training very, very seriously. I really enjoy this this story because it I think it brings me back personally to when I learned about the law of cause and effect, and it blew my mind that we talk a lot about that, and even mainstream there's a lot of talk around karma and, you know, be careful with karma, be careful with this, but there really isn't an in-depth knowledge as to what makes up karma and how it actually impacts our life, and to be able to understand that conditions are such important factors for how, or rather for the quality of the effects is really big as it's described here, right? Even though we have a rice seed, if you place it on a desk, well, the condition is not necessarily the most ideal. Therefore, the effect of putting or planting a rice seed on top of a desk will not be the same as if the rice seed is planted in soil. And so this story is a great reminder and having us reflect around how, well, cultivating our mindfulness, but also how we move in the world and what we decide to bring into our world, the relationships, excuse me, that we bring into our lives, because that will surely influence our thoughts, our worldviews, our perspectives, and how we then move in the world. Similar to Mencius, his mom had the foresight as they were moving from place to place to really notice how the environment was impacting Mencius's upbringing, his knowledge, his understanding of the world. And so it was very, very, very wise of her to move next to a school and really foster that ability for him to study. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. I don't know if there's more to share.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Estefania, for reading it and explaining it to us. I was very moved when you when you said that. Yeah, it's, you know, people talk a lot about karma, but we don't hear an in-depth explanation of what karma is or how it works. These stories teach us how karma, or the effects that unfold in our lives day to day, it's all the result of both the cause and the condition. Yeah, and that's what this story emphasized about the condition or people we associate with, the environment we place ourselves in. That's a very critical element that is actually influencing good effects or bad effects, happiness or unhappiness we experience every day in life. So yeah, I'm so grateful to this teaching. I'm so happy to be able to share with everyone, and hope every one of us here, we can share with our friends and family so they too learn how to be more and more proactive in attracting the happiness they want in life and avoiding those unfortunate circumstances. So good job, everyone, and have a beautiful evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.